Hello there, this is Mark Smith with Family Tree Counseling Associates. I don't normally make videos on Monday evening, but I had a really awesome day today. Part of recovery from any trauma or from narcissistic abuse is finding some hobbies that really can give you energy and synergy in your life. And one of mine is playing basketball. And so I had a fantastic time playing basketball today as a 57-year-old guy, 3 weeks from a surgery on my belly button. And I got on a good team, and I still missed some shots. But I passed it well, and I set good picks, and I played good defense, and won 3 games and lost 1, and just captured a little bit of joy and energy that I had been missing. So I thought I would take that energy and invest it in a video. Years and years and years before my reinvention as a Narcissistic Abuse Syndrome YouTube video maker, therapist / guru, I basically was a very good marriage counselor, and I've been doing therapy for 30 years out of my office here in Carmel, Indiana, and I love doing it. So this video isn't aimed toward you folks who are recently shattered, folks who are still in a relationship with a narcissist, people who are looking to recover from narcissistic abuse. Marriage to folks like that is a monstrous nightmare. And so I'm just talking today about your less traumatic, more normally dysfunctional, if you will, painful midlife marriage. And the title of the video is Marriage at Midlife: Stagnation, Resurrection, or Resignation. For years, I wrote for our newsletter that we sent out 4 times a year. And this is an article that was very popular for many years. So I'm just going to read the article and just sort of share as I go. And many of you out there who are in a midlife marriage and who are in a lot of pain, I think are going to relate to this a lot. So, you are well beyond your 40th birthday now, which is the time when, in my experience, Mother Nature has designed it for us to really get down to business of healing our unresolved childhood wounds. You dance the night away at your 25th high school reunion. The last of your kids are in high school themselves, and you're still looking pretty good. And you're actually, in your marriage, you're extremely lonely. There's a wall that has developed between you and your spouse that seems a mile thick. I'm going to share a poem, a very powerful poem. I've shared it in a video probably 4 or 5 years ago. And it's an unknown poet's description of midlife marital disconnection and hopelessness. Powerful stuff. It's called The Wall. Their wedding picture mocked them from the table. These two whose lives no longer touched each other. They loved with such a heavy barricade between them that neither the battering ram of words nor artilleries of touch could break it down. Somewhere between the oldest child's first tooth and the youngest daughter's graduation, they had lost each other. Throughout the years, each slowly unraveled that tangled ball of string called the self. As they tugged at stubborn knots, each hid their searching from the other. Sometimes she cried at night and begged the whispering darkness to tell her who she was. He lay beside her, snoring like a hibernating bear, unaware of her cold winter. Once, after they had made love, he wanted to tell her how afraid he was of dying. But fearing to show his naked soul, he spoke instead about the beauty of her breasts. She took a course in modern art, trying to find herself in the colors splashed upon a canvas, complaining to other women about men who are so insensitive. He climbed into a tomb called the office, and he wrapped his mind in a shroud of paper figures and buried himself in customers. Slowly, the wall between them rose, cemented by the mortar of indifference. One day, reaching out to touch the other, they found a barrier they couldn't penetrate. Recoiling from the coldness of the stone, each retreated from the stranger on the other side. For when love dies, it is not in a moment of angry battle, nor when fiery bodies lose their heat. It lies panting, exhausted, expiring at the bottom of a wall that it could not scale. So, you midlife married folks, does any of that sound familiar? Have you grown so far apart that you don't even seem married? A lot of the couples I work with, they're only married legally. They're not really married financially. They're not really married emotionally. They're not really married sexually. They've become, some of them, not just strangers, but some of them enemies in their own home. Is intimate, connected lovemaking non-existent or almost so? And that is sad for somebody in their 40s or 50s. You're too young. You're too young to not have a vibrant, connected love life. For the midlife marriage mired in bone-chilling stagnation, I would like to present some options. Life is just too short to continue to live the way that you're living. You know, you're really disconnected in your marriage. You don't talk, you don't connect, and that can become a year, and then it becomes 3 years, and next thing you know, you're 50. Time flies, man. If you blink once or twice, you'll be 60. In my opinion, the other more preferable marital options are either resurrection or resignation. But stagnation really sucks. it just sucks the life out of you. It's a marriage that is dead, the prototypical couple that goes to a restaurant and you see them sitting there and you can tell that they have nothing to talk about and they don't connect with each other any longer. So let's start on the positive end of things. Resurrection. Is it possible that romantically and sexually dead unions be raised from the dead? The answer is absolutely, positively, maybe. Y'all thought I was going to say yes. It really depends on the workability of both partners involved. And that's why if there is somebody with a cluster B personality disorder, the prognosis is not good, because they simply, I'm going to go over 5 qualities that you need to have to fix yourself and to fix your marriage. And if you don't have these, the best therapist on the planet isn't going to be able to save your marriage. First of all, somebody needs to wake up and start acting like they are sexually and emotionally alive. And I don't mean acting that way with somebody else, because all too often that's what happens. It's easy to become enmeshed with somebody new. It's hard to face off with unresolved issues with a spouse of 20 years. As long as both parties are satisfied with sleepwalking through life with no spark or passion, then while the marriage is safe from the clutches of divorce, it is still trapped in boredom, dissatisfaction, and emotional emptiness. So here are the 5 qualities. It had been so long ago that I wrote this that I only listed 3 qualities, and for years and years I've been sharing 5. So the 5 core qualities that need to be present if there's going to be a miracle of resurrection that can begin to occur. First of all, your psychological walls need to be down, and you need to be highly motivated. Not motivated to not get divorced, not motivated to save the marriage. Generally, in my office here in the north side of Indianapolis, that's why people come in. That's why couples come in, is they don't want to get a divorce. The ticket out of a marriage in midlife is very, very, very expensive on so many levels. So, but once they get there, I try to sell them on the concept of being motivated to fix themselves. Many times I'll ask people, do you know how broken you are? And a lot of times they say no. They say, I'm not broken. That dude over there is broken. Our marriage is broken. I love me some me. I'm not here to necessarily change me. I just want to save the marriage. And I tell them that in order to really involve yourself in an effective recovery process, you have got to be disturbed about your dysfunction. And it has to, you have to have insight into how dysfunctional you are, and it really needs to be disturbing. I was working with somebody the other day, and they said those words out of the blue, that I'm here to work on me because what I'm seeing in myself is very, very disturbing, and I want to work on it. So there needs to be a great deal of motivation, not to change the other person, not just to avoid the public embarrassment and the financial messiness of a divorce, but there needs to be a keen insight into how you're broken. So The second thing is you need to be teachable. And that means being truly open-hearted. It means being psychologically open to learning and feedback. It means knowing how much you don't know. Sometimes I'll get a 27-year-old couple in the room, and I'm like, dude, you ain't going to get this. Y'all ain't ready. Y'all ain't ready. You have not been run over by enough trucks. You haven't been in a 20-something year marriage that has just ground down your psychological defense mechanisms. And I'm gonna tell you a lot of really true things about who you are and where you came from and why you got married and how to fix it. And I'll maybe be that little voice, sitting on your shoulder when you're taking a shower that's whispering in your ear that someday you'll listen to way down the road. So it means listening much more than talking. So much of what I do with couples in therapy is I just get them to be quiet and listen to the other person. And I let them know there is no interrupting. When one person has the floor, they have the floor. And if you interrupt too much, I'll toss you from the room. Because you can fight at home for free. You don't need to come in and fight unproductively, paying a therapist a lot of money. I'm talking about psychological walls breaking down. I'm talking about feeling the primitive, needy feelings that are rooted in your childhood, long blocked off by psychological defense mechanisms. Many times I'll ask somebody, do you know that you have a sad, wounded, abandoned little boy or little girl at the core of your personality? And 9 times out of 10, they'll say yes, they do know that. I'm talking about fiercely reevaluating your work life, about fiercely reevaluating your values, your goals, and your entire self. If you don't think you are broken, you couldn't be more wrong. Everybody is broken. The marriage needs fixed because you need fixed. What keeps you from being able to love deeply and passionately? I'm talking about taking the marital puzzle pieces all apart and starting to fit them together again with some of the new pieces from your new developing self. That's what I tell people many times is a marriage is like a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle. And sometimes couples in denial, they come into the session and they feel like they've already got the thing 70% put together. I've never met that couple. Even if couples have been married for 25 years, it's a real high number if they have half of the pieces of that 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle put together. But after spending time doing an assessment, filling out a genogram or a family tree, I can usually do that with most couples in 2 hours. Sometimes it takes 3 hours. I am able to piece together 85% of the jigsaw puzzle, and I just flip it around and go, boo, look at that. And it can be startling in a good way. I'm talking about not pointing the finger of accusation at your spouse any longer. Are you up for that, Sparky? I wrote many years ago. Or are you just darkening my door in an effort to change your adversary? When you really understand what marriage is and that you chose this person for a reason and that you're responsible for your choices, it changes the environment, and your spouse is no longer your adversary. Your spouse is your therapy buddy, and it's a safe environment. You will need a lot of help in working on yourself. You will definitely need a lot of direction from a very powerful and insightful therapist. Doctors save lives, but they don't save everybody who comes in. Sometimes people die. And really good marital therapists save a lot of marriages. And what's more, they help people save themselves. It's all about healing yourself. But they can't save all of the marriages that present themselves, because if you don't have enough of these 5 qualities, the marriage is not going to make it. So pain is the third thing that's necessary to do effective recovery work. Most of the couples that I've worked with have had some level of motivation to salvage their marriages. While that's good, you need just a tremendous amount of motivation, and the motivation comes from pain. So our pain is a good thing. Your marital pain is there to instruct you and to be a blessing and a gift. I had a lady I worked with, and I called her marital pain a gift, and she'd go to cussing me. Our pain informs us that something is desperately wrong with us. And it takes a lot of strength and courage to face the pain of loneliness and abandonment and possible divorce. It's easier to drink a couple glasses of wine and to mindlessly flip on the tube or sit there and tap on your phone, or to relieve your own sexual tensions with fantasies of some new red-hot lover, than to get up and trudge through your day all over again. That is a numbing process. It hurts to be able to feel, but it's worth it. Whoever the first one is to feel pain, they need to share their pain with the other person, who is their slumbering spouse. And they have to be woken up at all cost, even if that means a separation. So the fourth thing that couples need is they need trust in the process of therapy. If they're working with me, they have to have trust in me, to believe that, I know what I'm talking about. And when you hear somebody share, and if it resonates with truth, it'll grab hold of your heart, and you'll have a sense that, hey, this is somebody who can really help me. And then the last quality is being trustworthy and following through on doing the work, doing the follow-up. Typically, I'll work with a marital couple for a couple of years, and during that couple of years, many times they read as many as 20 books, and they watch a whole bunch of videos, or they listen to books. And many of them, get involved in group therapy. So it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to fix yourself. So I would love it if every single couple that came in to see me experienced this resurrection miracle. The criteria for such a miracle happening are extremely challenging, though. And if you're with a narcissist, it is not going to happen. It takes two people who are in pain, who are highly motivated, who are psychologically open, who are able to trust and are willing to put the work into it. Sadly, many times it just isn't possible to resurrect a dead marriage. And it takes two to tango, and sometimes a marriage can't be resurrected. Whenever I have a couple that divorce, I don't feel like I've failed them, because I gather the information, I tell them the truth, I come at them respectfully, but with my gift of abrasion. I tell people I can use the scalpel or I can go out back and get the jackhammer, whatever it takes to have you learn some more things about yourself. So sometimes it just doesn't happen. Sometimes marriages die and they need to be buried, and that brings us to resignation. What I mean by resignation is I'm terminating this arrangement because it's dead, rather than resignation. It just means hopelessly giving in to the old, dead, tired, stagnant status. So while we are not big believers in divorce, we are pretty big believers in the power of controlled separations. I've seen many unworkable marriages that otherwise would have ended up in divorce be turned around by the power of separation. I've got a video somewhere on our channel about separation. Take a look at that. It can be a wake-up call, separation, to the emotionally dead spouse. However, usually you know in about 2 or 3 weeks when you're separated. If it really breaks that person's walls down and they really feel their pain and they really get ready for therapy, then you got something to work with. But if it hasn't produced a humble, workable spouse, it's time to probably, after about 6 months, think about moving forward. Sadly, many marriages are held together by sheer financial dependence. Many times a woman feels herself at a financial disadvantage and she stays as the lonely years slip by. So as you guys know, life is hard. Life is so hard. And marriage is hard. And divorce, for the most part, is a nightmare. But I have seen a lot of positive things on the other end, on the other side of divorce. I've seen countless courageous men and women not only survive but thrive as never before after their marriage. There's one fella I'm working with right now who's probably been separated about 6-7 months, and he's just working on himself, and he's working on his recovery, and he's learning how to love himself, and he's taking good care of himself. He's learning how to cook. He's learning how to dress well, and he's filled with joy. So that beats a disconnected marriage, and he has a very bright future. I think some really healthy woman is going to come along in a year or two and scoop him up. So this is actually hopeful and creative and invigorating work, the post-divorce rebuilding process. You will also need a great deal of help and support from a good therapist. Sometimes a marriage doesn't work out, and they think it's marriage counseling that I'm doing. I was never doing marriage counseling, which is a weird thing for a marriage counselor to say. I was doing find out the truth about yourself and get busy healing yourself and building a thriving lifestyle. Don't say that you can't afford a therapist. You can't afford not to go, whether you're in a marriage or whether you're rebuilding. You have a lot of great things ahead of you recovering, divorcing people. You will have the pieces together of your now separated puzzle pieces and seeing how they might fit into a world without marriage to that partner. You also have to face the world of dating again for the first time in decades, and that may sound fun, but the world at 40 to 50, 50 to 60 is a scary place. Stay off of dating websites. They are filled with scary, hurtful, narcissistic people. A healthier new relationship can be in your future. You will make it. And I tell people that this recovery process, whether it's hammering out a really painful marriage or going through a divorce, It's an adventure. Life is an adventure. You never know it's not a fun adventure a lot of times, but it is an adventure. And that's the price of being emotionally alive. So those of you who do end up with the divorce and recovery and rebuilding your life, hang on, because life is getting real interesting right about now. So marriage at midlife. What people don't know, and what I tell people when they come in, is marriage is designed to make you friggin' miserable. It really is. I can't explain that now because I'm out of time. But it's an opportunity to learn about yourself and to fix yourself. If you have not joined our YouTube channel, Family Tree Counseling on YouTube, please do that. And tune in every Tuesday night for our live stream show at 8:30 every Tuesday night to 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Tomorrow night, Karen Henry Smith is going to join me on the show and drop some knowledge. Thank you for watching today, and God bless.